Howdy folks, this is Andy Tran with Bark Outdoors. Today we're going to be doing another live chat with Wingman115. Wingman, you want to introduce yourself real quick?
Hi, I'm John from the Wingman115 channel. Andy and I have done quite a few of these shows. If you are a seasoned veteran to the show, if you're a newcomer, we welcome both of you. Both of us welcome you, and we look forward to having a good night.
Awesome. Well, tonight's topic, we're going to be talking a little bit about SHOT Show, and it's going to be in January 2016, and it's going to be the first time that both of us are attending together at the same time. Before, I used to go, and you were stuck back at home, and because I was at the academy last year, it was vice versa. So you went, and I wasn't able to go.
Actually, that was kind of a blessing, I think, because that's how the genesis for this show started. Was we started doing live shows from SHOT Show.
Yeah, I forget which hotel it was from, but I remember the internet was not great. I was super hungry because I couldn't go out and eat because I was editing all these videos. And yeah, it was a good time. Between walking 10 miles a day on hard floor and only getting 5 hours of sleep.
Hey, yeah, that's what you do. What I found out last year, that's what happens at SHOT. There's just so much to take in that it's almost overwhelming. The first day is just too much information.
Absolutely, and everyone gets sick after SHOT Show. It seems like you have to get your flu vaccine before you go to Las Vegas, and you should probably also get a couple shots of penicillin just as a pregame thing, and some glitter removal. I'm kidding.
Because there is, quote, the porn convention is the same time as SHOT Show. Just put it out there. Just put it. Not saying that we're going. Just putting it out there.
You see, guys, we're in relationship to where we're going to be. I'm just wondering
if they see a couple guys with film equipment going into a hotel room. Let your imagination run wild.
Well, see, that's actually something, because the first couple of years, I took a bus to go because I wasn't at a hotel that had the shuttle system to SHOT Show. And every time I got on the bus, someone was asking me, "Hey, bro, you filming the porno?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not filming the porn. I am just a guy with the camera. Don't worry about it." So that's actually something that popped up a lot, and I didn't realize. So maybe it is because the porn conventions are the same weekend or same week.
Most definitely. Hey, let me give a couple quick shout outs to folks that are over following along on YouTube Live right now. You have BPKAL156. That's a long name. Sorry if I messed that up for you. He's in the house. Michael Fuller's in the house. Yenta from France is in the house. Shmoli is in the house. And I want to give him a big shout out because my video didn't upload right, and he sent me a personal message to say, "Hey, dude, your video is not streaming right." So thanks, Shmuley, for helping me do that. I upload it again, help get the word out. So hopefully we'll be able to answer some of your questions tonight, and we're just going to keep it fun, do channel update, and see where we go from here.
Yeah. So it should be pretty cool. I mean, I'm running this a little bit different SHOT Show than I did previously. I'm going to go a little bit more prepared, with like, "Hi, this is my channel, and here are some numbers," and things like that. But I'm also going to be doing some booth time over at Tops Times, because not only is it Tahoma Field Knife out for 2 years, I also have a new design coming out. So that should be fun. How about you? What's your game plan?
Last year I kind of went with the mindset of trying to find unique individuals because everybody's going to the gun booth. I understand that it's a gun show and all that stuff. But I'm trying to find the small mom and pop folks with the unique story to tell and maybe a unique product, and just to go and meet interesting people and have a good time. Last year was a blast. Unfortunately, Andy couldn't go last year, and every booth I went to, you know, I said, hi, my name's John for the Wingman115 channel. They're like, oh, yeah, okay, where's Andy Tran? I'm like, Andy's not, oh, okay, well, talk to you later. I'm like, oh, nice. But yeah, you were missed at SHOT Show, and it's going to be fun this year to be together over there. And I can only imagine what sort of campy videos we're going to shoot at SHOT.
I need to get a shirt that says I'm with Wingman with an arrow pointing that way. And you should get one that says I'm with Interbark with an arrow pointing that way.
Or like this.
Yeah, it would be totally cute. And we can totally be like a YouTube couple.
Woo! Well, I'm trying to up the production value this year. So I have my son-in-law and my daughter going with us. So we have a camera person. Daughter's going. She might do some on-screen talent stuff for us, maybe in some knife booths, maybe in some gun booths. We were talking about a couple video ideas that we don't want to give away in case other YouTubers are watching that might want to copycat us at SHOT Show. But we have a couple interesting things in store that I think might entertain you at SHOT Show. Then, of course, depending on our internet upload feed, we might do a live show. I don't know. We're going to work out the kinks on that. So we'll keep you guys posted on all that stuff that's coming up.
We'll probably have to pay premium prices for good internet because Las Vegas internet tends to be not very good. I think one year I had one of those clear wire things, those little modems, and I was able to connect my computer to it and then go through wireless internet. But I don't know if I'll be able to do that again because now the system's different.
Michael Fuller asked the question. He goes, is getting sick, is it because of the brown bottle flu or the hookers? And he goes, do you think that's a coincidence?
I think it all goes hand in hand. I have a lot of people from different parts of the world like shaking hands and giving brochures, and it's weird when there's a lot of 5'11" pants in the same area. It doesn't work out so well. And then people get sick, and next thing you know, the whole industry is absent for the next week. That's how it happens.
Yeah, it was unbelievable the amount of people in 5'11" pants that I was like, OMG. It was like a 5'11" tactical pants convention last year.
I'm going to be doing a montage on 5'11" pants and those milk carton on wheel things.
Yes.
I want to do a montage
video. And the people that use them.
Mm-hmm. It'll be
let's see. Michael also asked, he goes, now I know that you can't disclose too much. He goes, can you tell us a little bit about your new knife design? And are there any smaller vendors that you definitely plan to visit at SHOT Show?
Well, the new knife design is right now it's in the computer at Tops. It's getting drawn up right now. And the design is made for law enforcement and military, although there will be a civilian legal option as well for folks that still want to have, the functionality but not the complete lethality of the design currently. It's going to be much smaller than the Tahoma Field Knife. It's not going to look anything like the Tahoma Field Knife. So all the LE and military guys that have been wanting something smaller that I designed to carry with them on deployment or on duty, they can have that. And so I designed it on what I would want in a small defensive/offensive tool. And so Tops Knives has been very receptive to that. And it's been awesome working with them, as always, from my experience of working on this and also with the Tahoma Field Knife. Pretty cool.
Now, I saw a picture. I can't disclose what it is, but I can tell you that it's pretty freaking badass. And if you're a knife lover, if you like unique blade, you're going to love this blade. Because it is definitely something that is outside of the box in a different design. than you normally see. And I think it's gonna be like mind blow when people see this one. It's really cool.
Yeah, and there's other knife companies that I could have brought this to, but Tops Knives, because they do all their CNC machining like in-house in America and everything, they're the only ones that I can trust to be capable of producing this design properly. Because there's a lot of things that can go not perfect with this, and they can dial it in 100%. So I'm stoked.
Now, a lot of folks know that I do Gauntlet reviews, and this one, it's a Tops knife. It came in the Gauntlet. This is the Skull Crusher SXB. Why don't you list in the comments for those that are viewing how you would like to see this tested, because I want to step outside the box and go crazy town with this blade. Now, you got to understand, I don't have a Hollywood budget, so I can't go get like wrecked cars and stuff like that. But let's hear how you'd like to see this, and I'd be interested. It's like a hybrid Tom Brown Tracker meets Predator, and EJ threw out the statement that this is going to take the Gauntlet down. So I want to hear from you guys how to really work this blade. It'd be real interesting on that. Also, a shameless plug for Andy, because he's not going to do it, is if you're looking for Kydex for your Tahoma, he has a vendor, and you can go to his website to get the custom Kydex. And I've been using it now for a couple months, and it works really well. And that's, I believe, the Red Feather Kydex sheath. Right, Andy?
Yep, Red Feather. It's
Okay.
all made in the United States. The gentleman that makes them for me, he lives about 30, 40 miles south of my home in Seattle. So it's all very local, which is appropriate because the Tahoma Field Knife is named after Mount Rainier, which is a couple hours away from Seattle. So yeah, you got like a Bermuda Triangle going on. So it's really neat.
Now, earlier today, I saw a person that changed, they had custom scales put on their Tahoma, and we were talking about if you start doing that, it's going to mess with the custom Kydex, because this thing is like molded specifically for this blade. So if you buy the Tahoma and you're thinking, hey, I'm going to go get the custom scales for this, and then you get that Red Feather Kydex sheath, it might not fit as good as it would with the factory scales on there. Just a little FYI for folks that may be thinking about that. I want to save you money before you pull the trigger on add-ons on things.
Yes,
But,
and one thing that Tops Knives is going to be doing here in a bit, and I don't exactly know the timeline, is they are going to be having their custom shop open so that if you need different scale material or different colors, they can hook that up for you. And when I was talking to them about it, I told them specifically that I wanted it to not change. I didn't want them to change the profile of the scales at all. So while it feel different and look different, I want the dimension exactly the same, because all the Kydex makers are using a very specific, mold, and I want to make sure that all stays good.
So here's a little setup that I'm running right now with my little Batman bushcraft belt that I have a video on. But I have the Scandi Woodsman that fits on there, and it's got a nice little cutout for Molly compatible straps, Pal's webbing, and all that good stuff. And it just fit right in there perfect. And I am testing this out for a season, and I'm going to do a follow-up review. I just did a review on the Scandi Woodsman. Great knife, by the way. But as a companion knife in a couple months, I'm going to do a follow-up video on this whole system and how that's going to work. But so far, it's been rocking really well. And one thing I'm going to add in here, and then we're going to move along, is that if you look in here, not much Kydex has welts in there. This is one of the few pieces of Kydex that I've seen have a welt in the sheath. And that's really cool because that gives that knife, one, it strengthens up that kydex really well, lateral, and it just fits really nice in there. So great job by that kydex maker on that. Can you give folks maybe a little update on your channel, where you're going, what are you doing? You're down there in beautiful Big Bend National Park.
Yeah, so right now, I mean, I can't really talk too much about the job, but I'm working down here in Big Bend National Park. That being said, I can't do everything like I typically would be able to, like back in Washington, where I have land to do all the stuff and natural resources I can use for my instructional videos and testing and things like that. But I just finished up filming a couple of videos in terms of like auto accessories / survival items, because a lot of people have bug out bags and things like that, but they don't have things that, you know, help you out if your vehicle should break down. So I have some stuff in regards to that coming along. I also acquired a new rifle, which I'm going to be testing and also hunting with. There's these beautiful creatures called aoudad, also known as Barbary sheep here in West Texas, and they are an invasive species. That being said, it's pretty much open season on them if you have a permit and license. So I should be going on one of those hunts here pretty soon. And I'm very excited for that because not only is it a super cool animal and gorgeous and would look awesome as a trophy / in my freezer, but they're also extremely difficult to hunt because they are a mountain dwelling creature. So I have to be in the mountains with them. So it should be cool.
Yeah, it will be cool. My channel's kind of taking a little bit of a turn, and you know, I've always tried to explore new avenues, and it's not a subject that's quote new to me. I've been doing traditional archery for a lot of years, but I'm going to start integrating more archery videos into my channel. I know that I did a lot of sling bow videos, and I got a couple lined up, both sling bow and some traditional archery videos, and maybe even some hunting videos with traditional archery. So it should be a fun winter, spring, and summer coming up. I want to do a couple 3D shoots. The courses out here aren't as great as the courses back east, but you know, I'll film them and I'll let you guys decide on that. But it's going to be fun, and if I can ever get up Andy's way, we're going to do some bow fishing for some carp on his property.
Yeah, because we have that creek that runs through my neighbor's place, which he wants me to go take them out on because they're invasive species. So yeah, totally would love to. And we can even drive up to the creek instead of hiking 2 miles to get to it, if we get the key. If we plan accordingly.
I don't mind the hike if we, you know, you never know. You see some coyotes or something out there, you know. Hey.
Yeah, every single time I've gone fishing with just my bow, not taking any firearms with me, there they are, coyotes. And because my neighbor has like 200 head of cattle, you know, he wants me to take care of the coyotes as well, but I'm usually unprepared to take them at that time. So this time I'm going to be prepared, and especially with this gorgeous AR-10 rifle by Arrow Precision, it should be pretty dialed to be able to take one from quite a ways off.
Now, that's going to be a fun video, and if I'm with you, I don't mind being a spotter and maybe ranging it for you with a little bit of wind, and we'll get up on some yotes out there as well. That would be an excellent video to shoot.
Yeah. The land that I shoot on and train on is wide open, so you can shoot out past 1,000 yards. But it's also like, you know, one of the windiest places that I've ever had the opportunity to shoot at, with crosswinds up to 40 miles per hour. So, you know, you have a lot of fun trying to bend it into the target. It's pretty neat. Hey, Chris from Preparing My 101's here.
And then Scouting Free from Germany, Mark, is in the house as well. So That's kind of cool. France is represented, Germany's represented, USA. Pretty cool.
Yeah, we're all here. Now, I think the only ones we're missing is China or Japan and Russia.
Well, I instant messaged Putin, so he might jump in on this just to check in. But we'll see how it goes.
I think Putin would be really cool to hang out with. All the pictures I see with him, like, bareback riding a horse or like hunting or something like that. It's like, man, this dude's badass. And then you see Barack Obama and he's hanging out with Beyonce and playing golf. I'm like,
Justin Bieber.
Yeah. I definitely like the way Putin rolls. I feel like if he had the opportunity and if it was practical and it went to the streets, he would totally drive a tank around with like cool streamers on it, like on a parade.
He probably does. I wouldn't wearing the Matrix glasses.
Yeah.
So, what's some of the questions that you folks have out there? What would you like to see at SHOT Show? Maybe what sort of videos would you like to see Andy and I do for upcoming projects? Any ideas, any suggestions, any questions? Keep them clean. Remember, this is a kids show as well. We'll try to answer them the best that we can.
Yeah. So, now that I'm in law enforcement, definitely going to be looking at some of the law enforcement stuff, but not too heavy on it because a lot of that stuff civilians can't get. And a lot of that stuff is super cool. It would not be very nice to just show people what they can't get. But yeah, definitely want to do some of that. I do want to do some of the smaller, companies, but I have to be very careful about that because one year I did a few on smaller companies, and they were more or less startups at the time. And while they had super cool products, it never came to light. Like it was the stuff that they had wasn't available. And it was kind of sad because I was actually looking forward to getting my hands on some of that stuff. So I gotta be careful.
Mark from Scouting Free, he wants to know what Habilis is coming up with. I don't know. I check in on Habilis every once in a while. I do have the bush tool. It's a solid knife. I really like it. I like unique designs anyway. But I haven't really heard much of Habilis in the past couple of years. I don't know if they've had a falling out with Dave Canterbury. I know they worked with the Pathfinder School, but I'll have to look into that and see what they're doing. But I hope they're still making knives. I really like the bush tool, and we'll see where it goes.
Yeah, I think. I haven't heard really too much. I mean, they have their like flagship knives, and it does everything that they intended it to do. So, maybe they'll come up with like different steels or something like that for it. Is the only thing I can think of.
Says, have either of us ever chatted with Emerson?
I think I got too scared and walked away.
Yeah, their booth. Well, I never made it to Blade. Their booth at SHOT. It wasn't a big booth, but there was a lot of these quote super tactical operators that were constantly hanging around that, and I was like, oh, okay, I'll pass. Because I'm not about that. I'd try to keep it real. So, there was so much to see at SHOT. Blade would probably be the area to talk to Emerson and the folks over there. I like their knives. I know that Kershaw makes a couple where they've teamed up with them. That would be kind of cool to review in regards to folders, because I don't think I review enough folding knives. So if Kershaw and Emerson is following along, be more than willing to do some reviews on those blades.
Yeah, speaking of Kershaw, a subsidiary of them, Zero Tolerance, I have one of these. These are really cool. I still have to do a review on this. This was sent to me by the Alaska Life. And this is the knife that I carried for a long time when I was in the academy. And it's the only one I carry now because I lost my tops folder when I was hunting for people. They got lost. So, I mean, it's not really a downgrade or anything like that. This is a pretty sweet knife.
Zero tolerance is awesome blade. What's the steel on that blade?
This is S35 VN. So, you know, it's a pretty good steel. Actually, a fantastic steel.
I'm using just my classic Spyderco Endura 4. I carried one with serrations for about 12 years, and I just, you know, I beat the hell out of it, just wore it out. And then it just came time to get a new one, so I pulled the trigger. I've been carrying this one now probably about 1.5 years. And it's been holding up pretty good. I like it. I'm waiting for Tops to come out with their Brothers of Bushcraft knife or the Tex Creek folder. And I saw them at SHOT. I got to hold them in my hand. Very awesome blades. And I would take either one of those blades. And I'm hoping that they'll come out soon. And I'll start carrying one of those.
Yeah, it's about time because it's been almost a year since they announced that. So, yeah, any day now, Tops. But you got to understand, there's a lot that goes into a folder, like 10 times more things that go into a folder than for a fixed blade. And if it's not 100%, then Tops Knife is not going to put it out there.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I like the idea of a folder for all of those, especially the Tex Creek, because I feel like for a hunting knife, it doesn't need to be super duper stout, you know, like a bushcraft blade. So for me, in my mind, it's more practical to have it that way.
Chris says he's growing his beard out and he's getting a Spartan tattoo and some 511 pants for SHOT Show. You'll fit right in, Tanner. You'll fit in perfect.
Yeah, and then you got to get the milk crate on wheels and you're set to go.
That's right. The milk crate on wheels, dude. Especially when you tow it behind one of the handicap carts. So that way you take up like 3 people walking space as you're going down one of the
islands. You run over at least 2 self-acclaimed Navy SEALs, and then you're going.
Let's see. Kevin's channel asks, what would be your job description?
I am a law enforcement officer for the Department of the Interior. So I am federally commissioned, and so I work under 18 CFR, 36 CFR, and Title 19 CFR as well, because I'm also at the border. That is all I can say about that.
And with that, Mark from Scouting Free asks, maybe we can find some companies that are making flashlights besides Through Night.
If we found a company that had decent priced lights that were good quality, of course. Through Night, to me, are fantastic so far, though. There was that one light that died after I put it on a shotgun, after they claimed it was a gun light, but they fixed that since because I broke it a lot. So it's good to go now.
Yeah, I think between a lot of our channels, even Chris's channel, you know, we beat on these flashlights, we dunk them in water, we freeze them in the freezer. Hell, I think we even drive over them with our car. I mean, that takes a pretty freaking badass beating and still keeps going. And for the price point that they're offering these lights at, you know, yeah, they're saturating the market a little bit on YouTube with reviews, and I think a lot of people are getting Through Night hate because of that, because it's information overload. But they put out a pretty solid light. I mean, I always keep them within arm's reach right here, the Archer 2A. I love this light. Double A's. This works really good.
Well, it's also, you know, like, Surefire flashlights are fantastic, and they work really well. And the function and feel of them is really good. But, you know, you buy one, most people buy one, but a lot of people also buy 2 for their spouse as well. So you're doubling the price for that. So if you look at, you know, the cost times 2 or 3 or 4, then that kind of changes the way you look at things.
Yeah.
For duty, I carry a Surefire. Because I have to. It's prescribed in our, Holy Bible of park rangering stuff, but also because it's specifically meant for fighting, whereas Through Night isn't quite, up there in terms of form and function for fighting. So it kind of always depends.
Yeah, I mean, just for an everyday person that's going to have something as an everyday carry or a truck light or in their little personal protective equipment, container. I mean, though the Through Night flashlights are going to hold up really, really well. And for the price for Surefire, you could probably buy 4 Through Nights and outfit your whole family with what you have,
No, I think that's about right. Exactly 4. You could fit 4 Through Nights in one Surefire.
Yeah, for law enforcement, military, tactical operator, yeah, you're going to run and gun with the best that you can afford and money can buy. But for the average Joe that's, working hard, living paycheck to paycheck, trying to make ends meet, Through Night is pretty solid in that regard. And on that note, we were talking about doing maybe a Christmas show. I don't know, maybe you guys can chime in on how you would feel about that. I think it was last year or maybe the year before. We did a Christmas show on like stuff to buy for the year. Maybe get your thoughts, what you'd like to see, what you would like us to talk about, and we'll see if it's in the cards. I know that, this time of year, both of us are pretty busy, but if we can squeeze in a show, we'll knock one out.
One thing that I'm going to be looking at, though, are like things that enhance your survivability in God forbid, a gunfight. Because, like, for me, being able to shoot first and put rounds accurately downrange is huge, like day or night. So, like, for me, I did a lot of research on things like this, which is an infrared and green laser made by Steiner. And this is with Optics Planet. And so, like, things like that don't cost a terrible amount of money, but increase your capability day and night, I think is huge. Like, say if you were wearing a gas mask or something like that because you're popping smoke, you can use this to aim without having a solid cheek weld because you can't. So, things like that, I think, make a lot of sense.
See, that's the fun stuff that I don't get to do here in California. And a lot of people ask me, I get comments all the time, John, how come you don't do more firearms and this and that? One, you have to realize it's California. There's nothing here that's going to impress anybody that lives in a state where you can own high cap mags and all the other stuff. So there's a lot of good folks out there that do a better job than me in the firearm community, and there's room for them to do that. I think that's why I'm going to start venturing more maybe into traditional archery. Maybe I'll even get some bow fishing stuff in there. I did a hunting trip. God, the time flies by fast. Last weekend, had a blast. First, it was kind of archery season and powder burner season. So I went to an area where you couldn't hunt with firearms, thinking, okay, these hunters will push these deer maybe our way. Man, as soon as it was daylight and it was legal to hunt, it sounded like the killing fields. Pow, 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 pow. I was like, holy crap, man. I'm glad I wasn't like in the bush where these guys were. But saw a lot of signs, and I would leave a trail cam up in this area, but got to remember SoCal, there's so many people. San Diego County, 2 million people. A lot of people are sharing the woods and the public spaces. I'm afraid if I leave my trail camera out there, someone's going to boost it and take it. So I've been doing a lot of reconning out there. Took some pictures of some sign, fresh scat, tracks, things like that. So hopefully I can get a video maybe of a buck coming through my field of view.
Yeah. One thing I think you should get, though, if you have a little bit of expendable money, is an AR-10, because 10-round magazine is really all you need for something like this, because 20 or 30 rounds of 308 is super heavy. So this is about, you know, as much firepower as a 30-round magazine on an AR-15. It's legal, and look how cute it is.
It's cuddly.
Yeah.
Make great stocking stuffers.
Yeah, 178 grains, shut the hell up, and
That's
you
right.
got something that's legal in California as well.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind building an AR-10. I built an AR-15 from the bottom up. My buddy Mike and I, and it was fun. I mean, we did them at my kitchen table, and we had a great time. You know, there's nothing more rewarding than to say, you know what, this is a weapon that I built, and it was a blast to build it. I learned a lot. I also learned a lot when I bought a Mosin Nagant, just how much freaking cosmoline those Russians put on that crap at the armory and how hard it was to get it off. But we did. I'm a firm believer that if you drink enough beer and boil enough water, cosmoline will come off your Mosin Nagant, and it did. So we had a good time with that as well.
Yeah, I feel like you need like acetone and a sonic cleaning bath in order to get that stuff out.
Oh my God, that cosmoline is like, I think space aliens made that stuff because it was brutal. My hands smelled like cosmoline, I think, for like a month. I mean, I tried everything. I tried bleach. I tried lava. I tried Ajax. Everything under the sun, simple green, you know, and just every once in a while you would get, hey, what's it smell? And you're like, oh my God, it's cosmoline. It doesn't go away.
You tried gasoline or something like that?
I tried acetone, everything. The only thing that took that stuff off was hot boiling water. We boiled water and just kept dousing everything with water. And I didn't keep the stock. I have the stock in the garage, but we bought these ATI Monte Carlo stocks, and they were fun. That was a fun add-on to do. I had to do a little Dremel work because with Mosins, there's a couple different variants, and sometimes the whole part of the firearm doesn't fit down in very well, especially like where the mag well is in that area. But with a little bit of Dremel work, perfect. Fit really good. Shot really well. I'd put a red dot on there with a custom mount. In less than 10 shots fired, it broke the mount right off the gun. That's how much recoil was on that Mosin. It was just insane. But I love shooting it. It's a fun gun. And for $98, it was at the time. I think they're like $150 now, $160. But still, I mean, for the price, you can't beat that gun. It was awesome.
Yeah, and aside from having to clean it after every range session, you know, because the primers and the ammo.
Oh yeah,
should be pretty dope.
Well, I had a guy that gave me a little life hack for that. He said just use Windex. So what I do is I just tip the gun, barrel down, spray Windex in the action, soak it, run a patch down through there, clean it out, and then oil it up with, I use Frog Lube, but I oil it up, works fine. No corrosion, bolt works fine. Just a good shooting gun. Hey, 100-year-old technology still works, and it fires, is really accurate. So I highly recommend those.
I think it would be kind of interesting to see how many different new types of gun lubrication are out there at SHOT Show for this year. Because after the whole like Fire Clean debacle, are you aware of that happening? Like, people are just going freaking nuts. I still like Fire Clean. I think it works really well.
What, with the Frog Lube?
Well, because a lot of people are saying, like, you know, Fire Clean's vegetable oil, yada, yada, but it's like, yeah, it's vegetable oil based with a few additives to it that make it not vegetable oil. And just curious to see how many people are going to try and take Fire Clean's place. I think it'd be interesting.
Yeah, you know, it's funny when you start talking about lubes and cleaners and things like that. people are very polarized in regards to that stuff. So when people start talking about their favorite one, I go, hey, dude, whatever works for you is fine. I haven't had a problem with the frog loops, especially on my AR-15. A lot of people say that they have it gum up and jam and all that, but I've never had like carbon buildup or any of that along the bolt carrier or the firing pin, like a lot of people say that they have after just firing round after round after round all day. But the cleanup has been very quick and easy for me using the frog loop. And I think the secret is that I got the gun hot before I applied it. So I sent a couple rounds down range, and then I just soaked that bolt carrier, let that hot steel just soak it right in, and then let it cool down. And it just, when it just sweats the frog lube. It doesn't dry out, at least for me, in my environment here in SoCal, where, you know, it's hot, dry, not a lot of humidity, you know.
Yeah, like, for me, when I use frog lube, it worked really great up until like the 200 round mark, and then it started to slow down a little bit and gum up. And I did apply it hot, so I think it could just depend on, like, I don't know, the latitude, longitude that you're at or something. Who knows?
I think a lot of it. I use frog lube on all my knives too, because if I use them for food, then I don't have to worry about, you know, cross contamination with REM oil or any of that other stuff. Seems to work pretty good down here in a semi-dry environment. Of course, up in Seattle, it could be totally different.
Adventure Talk asked, what are my predictions or our predictions on groundbreaking releases at SHOT Show? What's going to make Jaws drop? What do you think?
Well, I can tell you what's not going to make Jaws drop. I remember last year how Glock was saying that they were coming out with their single stack, and everybody got all crazy town, like, oh, they're going to release it today. Are they going to release it today? Oh, and they didn't, you know. So that was like a big opening a Christmas present and finding that there wasn't anything inside. So that was a big downer. My prediction, there'll always be some new optic that's coming out that's latest and greatest and better. There's always going to be some new trigger for the AR-15 platform that's going to be better than, you know, mother's milk. There's always going to be some sort of the new Magpul stuff, I mean, coming out is looking pretty freaking good. And I think they're crossing over now into other platforms other than the AR-15, which is really cool. So I would think something like that. What's your thoughts?
Well, I know something that people have been anticipating is that Day on Defense 308 rifle, AR-10 M5 platform. Although I think they're a little late to the game because pretty much every other manufacturer has been out with that for at least a couple of years now. But it comes to a price point just less than $3,000, which is better than like Knight's Armament and things like that. I was talking to Michael Fuller last night about it, actually. So I think that is going to be good because I love my Day on Defense M4 rifle. That thing's fantastic. Yeah, I'm kind of curious to see how well it's going to perform. I think you're probably on par with, you know, optics and triggers and things like that. I would really like to see what the battle is going to be like between Keymod and M-Lock accessory mounting options, because I'm a Keymod guy, but I know a lot of people like M-Lock because of Magpul is endorsing it. So I'm kind of curious to see how it's going to pan out.
Yeah, what will also be interesting is you have different camo companies competing. Last year, Cryptek was everywhere. Even had like Aqua Cryptek dive suits and things like that. So it'll be interesting to see what sort of camo is predominant this year. I was wearing like an ATAX, Arid ATAX hat, and somebody at the ATAX booth was like, dude, come on over to our booth. We got all this new stuff. And they had like a little 6-foot booth, and I was like, hey, I hate to say this, but I think ATAX is dead in regards to being a player in the camo game. I love this stuff. I use it out here in SoCal. Works very good. But I think they've lost out to multicam, because multicam has diversed huge. I also use that if you watch any of my videos. I'm wearing multicam all the time up in the local mountains. Now they have what? Multicam Arid, multicam Tropical, multicam Black, which I have a VanQuest backpack that is pretty badass sort of camo job. But I'm also a fanboy of Cryptek too. I love that design, and I think it has a place. So it's going to be interesting to see the different shirts, the different vests, the different hats, all that stuff that's in camo. Let the camo wars begin.
Yeah, and I know the Army just adopted a variation of the regular Arid multicam, but I don't think any of the tests proved that it was superior to anything, really. I think it was more of like a political move. So who knows? I really like ATAX. I think the desert stuff works really great in arid conditions. I have some foliage green or foliage colored ATAX, and that stuff works awesome. But almost no manufacturers are picking up the pattern to make stuff out of. So, you know, while it works well, it's not very popular, and it makes me really sad.
Hey, got a question for you, Andy. Do you have any future plans to go to South America that you can share?
I would like to go to South America again. I had a fantastic time over there with Joe Flowers and Bushcraft Global. We'll see. It all really depends on like time frame and things like that. Like this year, wasn't able to go because I was in the academy and all that stuff, so I wasn't able to do anything. And then, you know, who knows? I would like to, but yeah, it's mostly on like time and scheduling and all that stuff. I'd like to go to South Africa and go hang out with some giraffes and lions and things and conservationists over there. We'll see. I'm going to talk to some people when I go to SHOT Show. But yeah, I think some travel plans are definitely in the future. It just really depends on, you know, when these trips are and things like that. Because that's the biggest thing right now. My duty primarily is as a law enforcement officer.
Well, I just had a neat idea. It was the Jon and Andy show, brought to you by Mutual of Omaha. If some of the older folks remember, like Wild Kingdom was like a Mutual of Omaha show. It was kind of really cool. And if that Mutual of Omaha happens to be watching and wants to sponsor a show for Andy and I would be happy to oblige and do that. It would be fun. See, we could do that in the off season, Andy. We could shoot, and then you could, when it comes regular season to do the law enforcement stuff, you know, then you got the best of both worlds.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, like, everyone's talking about what we're doing next season, what we're doing during the downtime. And some people are kind of worried, you know, like they're not going to get a good job or this and that. And I'm like, I got YouTube, you know, like this is a full-time job in and of itself. So I'm not too worried about it. You know, if I want to go do something, I'll go and do it. It's not too difficult.
Yeah, that's one thing about having an established channel, you know, that I'm sure that you're backlogged quite a bit on a lot of stuff, how-to videos and reviews and things like that.
Definitely. And the how-to videos I enjoy doing a lot more than the reviews, but especially now that I'm here, it's hard to be able to get out and use natural resources because I'd have to travel like 2 hours away because Big Bend National Park is huge. And just outside of it is private land. So it's hard to do stuff.
Yeah, I love doing the how-to videos and the DIY stuff. It's fun to share a lot of those ideas. And it's amazing how much you learn in the process, especially through the comments when you post a video like that. It's amazing, you know, sometimes, oh, I missed something, but I also learned something as well. And that's one thing that I really love about my channel is that I've learned so much from viewers like you guys out there. Like, take for instance, I cut my finger really bad a couple weeks ago. I posted on Facebook. And I was messing around. I was buffing an axe, got a little bit of corrosion on it, and something happened where my attention span wasn't on the task, and I really clipped the tip of my finger off really, really bad. And I posted a photo on there, and there's a guy named Doc Tooley, and he's a veterinarian. He might be a retired veterinarian. And he said to put colloidal silver on there with a gauze or a Band-Aid and keep it wet, and that it would increase the heal time because it would just, it's an awesome antimicrobial, just kills all the nasties. So I go to the health food store, I buy colloidal silver, and I do what I'm told because the doc told me to do it, right? I'll be damned if it wasn't a week and a half. This is 2 weeks right there. My finger is back in action. I was worried because I had to do a Tough Mudder that like I did last Saturday. And I was like, oh my God, if I don't at least have this thing scabbed over, I was worried about like staph infections. And, I'm like, oh my God, I don't want to lose my hand or, my arm because of a staph infection. So I learned a lot from the folks out there who watch the channel, who follow on Facebook. It's a blessing. And I thank you guys for that.
There's a lot of smart people out there, a lot smarter than me. I agree with you.
Oh, hell yeah. I went to work and folks were like, yeah, go ahead. I had a doctor tell me that. I go, what kind of doctor? And they go, I go, it's a gentleman who's a veterinarian. They're like, a veterinarian? I go, listen, dude, this guy's a doctor. Treating an animal is no different than treating a human. I go, and that colloidal silver, I mean, I was impressed with how well. I got a really bad blister on my foot from running that 10 miles on that Tough Mudder. Put that on there, and that healed that blister in like 3 days. It just knocked it out. So, it's not a colloidal silver infomercial, but I'm just want to earmark that. I really appreciate the viewers out there, the people that follow along on the channel. You guys are a valuable resource on some of the videos that we put out. And it's just amazing, and I can't thank you guys enough for helping us out. Let's see. Somebody was asking questions. Mustang 774 is asking, what is coming up in the Gauntlet review series next? Well, I showed the Top Skull Crusher SBX. That's coming up. I have another knife from Spain. I've kind of been getting bogged down because working that 50-hour work week and trying to do the channel has really, it's really tapped me for time. But those are 2 immediate things for the Gauntlet that I have lined up coming up shortly. I'm hoping this week. I'm on vacation. So within the next week or 2, I should have that out. Let's see. Somebody's saying, is Cryptek, is it out of style? I don't think it's out of style. I'm still seeing a lot of Cryptek out there.
Yeah, I think it's still alive and well. I have one thing that's Cryptek, and that's it. It's not my favorite, but it works.
Yeah, they. I like the Arid Cryptek. It blends in really well out here in San Diego County. And somebody said they watched The Wild Kingdom right before The Love Boat. Hey, thanks, Mark Keenan. That's old school right there. Mark Fuller's asking if he thinks that any of us will do a Spartan knife review. I would love to. I can't afford one right now because they're like what, $300 or something?
Yeah,
they're expensive.
If Curtis wants us to review one, I will not hesitate to review one of his knives. But on my federal law enforcement budget / salary, I can't afford that. No way.
Hogtied says his wife's a vet tech and he gets all his advice from the vet all the time. See, you can't go wrong. Hey, and even on The Walking Dead, right? Herschel was a vet. So you need a veterinarian in your zombie apocalypse group. That's for damn sure.
And just keep his head from getting cut off.
That's right. That's right. He was starting to look like Santa Claus in that. And some people photoshopped him like with a Santa hat.
Like a homeless Santa Claus.
Well, a zombie apocalypse Santa Claus. It still works. The group's starting to get crazy now. They're talking about the Love Boat and Fantasy Island. Mike Fuller says that he will get one sent to you. He says that would be cool.
I'm not gonna say no.
No, I would, and to give a shameless plug for the Gauntlet, that's one of the good things about the Gauntlet is that we don't keep the items that we review, and it goes back to the manufacturer or we give it away. So it travels along. You get to see different folks doing different things, and then you get to make a good, well-informed decision if you want to pull the trigger on a $200, $300 knife or a piece of equipment. So the Gauntlet's been working out pretty good. I've really enjoyed it. It's a great group of guys and one gal, and she's a stud, by the way. So
yeah, that's one thing, like searching for companies for support and also to partner up with for the upcoming year, I think is a huge thing that we're doing about SHOT Show as well.
Yeah.
Like you guys got to look at the Gauntlet stuff. For me, I'm looking at like sponsorships for video series or travel things like South America and things like that. So yeah, it'd be cool.
Well, it's going to be a fun time at SHOT Show, and that's one of the things that I was really enjoyed about last year is that how genuinely nice folks were at the booths to talk to. Now I understand that folks are trying to sell stuff and all that, but they don't have to talk to someone with a media badge, if they don't want to, because they're working and they're trying to sell things. But everybody that I talked to gave me their time, and they were just good, genuine, freaking awesome folks, and got to meet a lot, got to meet a lot of YouTubers over there. It's going to be like a YouTuber convention again this year, which I look forward to. It's going to be a fun time. And I can't wait for us to be on the floor and shooting some videos, and hopefully we'll be able to get a live show for you guys of what you guys would like to see. Start thinking in advance and post questions or statements on our Facebook pages, on our social media. That's the easiest way to reach both Andy and I is through our social media.
Yeah, for me, it's Facebook. Like Facebook, I'll get to you within like an hour, if not 5 minutes, because that pops up on my phone and stuff like that. Whereas YouTube, sometimes it gets thrown to the spam, and it's hard to get a hold of me. So yeah. Facebook for me definitely works a lot easier.
Yeah, and I'll even go so far. If you guys want to shoot me just a message on Facebook, I'll respond to it as fast as I can. I can't speak for Andy, but with my channel getting close to 20,000 subscribers, I get anywhere from 2 to about 150 to 300 emails a day. So sometimes things can get lost. So the social media aspect is probably the best way right now as a line of communication for me to communicate with folks out there. And I also have an Instagram account, so because I love photography. So if you guys like photography and want to follow along and you have an Instagram account, check me out, say hi. Always fun to check out and see what you post up. Hogtied said he wished SHOT Show was closer to the East Coast.
You mean like in the middle of the country where people typically just fly over? Or you wish it was on the East Coast?
Probably.
I think it should be in Nebraska. Lincoln, Nebraska.
The only problem with that is that you're talking, you need a convention center that has about 1 million square feet of space. And just about the only place you can do that is Vegas and do it right. Vegas knows how to do these events, and they do them very well. I thought the event last year was run very well. And I go to a lot of events here in San Diego at their convention center, and it makes the stuff here in San Diego looks like child's play. How it was run, it was organized, easy to get help. They even had a iPhone app that was user-friendly, in my opinion, to use. So, and like Hogtide said, driving distance, for me here in San Diego, I mean, it was what, 6-hour drive? So that wasn't too bad. Of course, if you ride, I went with Ken from Prepare One, and I went to his house in Glendora, and then we took off from his house to Vegas. I'm not going to say how fast he drove, but we got there in less than 2 hours from his house, and it was pretty fast. So he was hauling ass through the desert. We had a good time.
Yeah, I pull over a lot of people for going too fast. The speed limit here in the park is 45 miles per hour. And to get from one end to the park to the other takes about an hour and a half if you're going speed limit. So people tend to speed. But it's not a good idea because a lot of people get hurt in single car accidents just from going like 10 miles over the speed limit. So shame on you, Ken.
I think the biggest problem would be like when I used to live in northern Maine, hitting wildlife, hitting white-tailed deer up in Maine, white-tailed deer and hitting a moose. I mean, that's really going to wreck your day, if not kill you. I can only assume down there, what do you have? Antelope and probably black-tailed deer? Mule deer?
We have Sierra del Carmen white-tailed deer. We have aoudad. We have elk. We have bobcats. We have mountain lion, cottontails, jackrabbits, coyotes, vultures. I accidentally hit a vulture one time because it flew right in front of my vehicle.
Really?
Yeah. I've never hit a bird before in my life driving. Birds seem to just fly into my vehicle when I'm going down the road. And I can't help it, and I'm not going to swerve because then I'm going to destroy a government vehicle. But, I mean, Big Bend National Park has over like 500 different species of birds. And some of them accidentally fly into your windshield. It's the nature of the beast. I feel kind of sad.
Now, let's explore this for a minute. Now, the white-tailed deer, what's the average size of, say, a buck? 170 pounds? Somewhere around there?
They're a little bit smaller than typical white-tailed deer because of the diet constraints that they have here. But they're pretty decent size. But it's a national park, so if you went and got one, I would be arresting you.
No, I'm not advocating going hunting on federally protected land. I'm just curious from a wildlife, you know, a lot of us that hunt people don't realize are some of the biggest conservationists that are out there. Through the price of hunting licenses and fishing licenses, it helps to preserve and protect those animals. But from a photography standpoint, I'd love to get down there, you know, and film some of the elk, some of the deer. You know, it'd be tough to get mountain lions and bobcats on film, even though I got bobcats before, but it'd be fun to do that. Probably at the higher elevations too, though, 5,000, 6,000 feet.
I can bring you to all the places where they're typically seen because we get the reports all the time. Like right now, we have a mom and 2 cubs that are hanging out in a very specific part of the mountains here. And we get reports every single day, the exact same spot, or around the exact same time. So, you know, Yeah, there's definitely a lot of good stuff. I'm surprised at how much wildlife there is in a desert. I thought it would be a little more sparsely populated. There are so many things, especially after a rain. You know, then the snakes come out of their burrows, all the tarantulas are coming out of their dens. There's a lot of animals.
Oh, there's an abundance of life in the desert. It's crazy.
Yeah. And so
That
many
would be a cool
cactus.
video if you could get time to film some of the wildlife there.
I've been filming on and off for the past like 5 months. And I'm planning on releasing a cool video, you know, where it kind of shows life in general, like before and after the rains and stuff like that, because it seems like day and night, you know, after a rain happens. And there's certain wildflowers. I was talking to the botanist that works here, you know, like just like clockwork, 2 days after the rain, the wildflowers bloom on certain plants. And then you see the entire desert just sparkled with these little itty bits of color. It's really neat.
Hey, I got a question from Born on a Mountain, Raised in a Cave. He wants to know how I got the name Wingman, and he hopes I don't say from the Leatherman. Okay. Give you the short, abridged version. I was in the Navy. I was in an Airedale squadron, F-14s to be specific. Matter of fact, here's my old squadron patch. VF-21, the freelancers, now debunked, decommissioned. All our planes are probably cut up or they're museum pieces now. But I was an ordnance guy. I was an aviation ordnanceman. I was second class petty officer. I didn't get the name there because I wasn't a pilot, none of that stuff. How I got the name Wingman was after I got out of the Navy, I really got into the culture here in SoCal of mountain bike riding. And in the late 80s, early 90s, I mean, SoCal was the mecca for mountain bikes. I mean, every major mountain bike company, with the exception of a rare few, were coming out of SoCal. So I was on a racing team. I used to race for a local club here called Mission Cyclery. They had a shop, then they sold. They retired. One of the few companies to be able to retire out of that business. And we used to do a lot of night rides because it would get so hot. We would night ride and go out. Well, after a while, the groups started to get from 4 or 5 people to 5 and 10 to 10 to 20. And some nights it would get like 30 to 40 riders. Well, I would volunteer to ride drag to make sure nobody got left behind. Because on a lot of these rides, we were just hard charging, you know, high speed, low drag, hitting the trails, doing 30-mile rides at night. You have light constraints. They only last a couple hours, so you're going hard. And people would fall behind. You'd get mechanical, things like that. I'd always stop and assist. And they'd always say, thanks for being my wingman. So that's where the phrase came in. That I was just noted because I wouldn't leave anybody behind on the trail. I didn't care if we were on a training ride or whatever. I'd stop and I'd make that experience as fun because I wanted to promote cycling. The last thing I wanted to do was folks to come out and it might be their first or second or third time doing something, and all of a sudden somebody rode them into the ground, they had a bad experience, and they're never going to come back. And my thought was, if we're going to grow this sport, especially in our area, we got to take care of the people in the grassroots. So I was noted for doing that, and hence the name Wingman came along. Now, 115, I was trying to get an email address, and there was 114 other Wingmans for a certain email address. So I said, you know what? I'll try 115, and ba-ting. So now you know, like Paul Harvey, you know the rest of the story now. It came from
I didn't know it was from cycling. That's cool.
You know what? Most of my damn injuries have come from mountain bike riding. Neck injuries, hip, arm injury from being ejected over the bars. We've talked about this a couple times. You were a downhill racer. You know all about that. It's not a matter of if you're going to get hurt. It's just a matter of when you're going to get hurt.
And how bad.
Yes. Because you can always blow an edge. It's an off-cambered turn. You blow through the turn. Out here, we have things called cactus. and they're not very forgiving when you blow through a turn and hit cholla. It's not fun. That's why you carry duct tape, carry pliers. I did a 24-hour race like that, and somebody plowed into a cholla and was just pockmarked with cactus stuck on them. And they came through to the finish line. I was like, props out, dude, respect, because that crap hurts. Hurts really bad.
Yeah, I was getting injured so much when I was downhilling that the radiologist or whatever, the x-ray person, she knew me by name. And that's partially because I went to school with her daughter, but it's also because I went to her every single time I broke something. So, you know, I was kind of had like a little fast pass, and I'd go into the fast lane, and there'd be churros, and I could eat churros while they waited. It was pretty cool.
Hey, somebody asked, you guys got armadillos down there, right?
I have not seen a single armadillo.
No?
No, I've seen turtles.
Hey, Mark Keenan says he wonders if Ken and I were dressed like priests and driving a Ferrari. No, we were in a Dodge Challenger though. That was kind of tricked out. It was a fun time. Mike Fuller says he's lived in Arizona. Cactus are not your friend. Mike, I would agree.
Yeah, I've had my clothes stapled to me because the cactus were like in different directions. And there's some that like break in your skin, like not completely, but just bend so that it's hard to take out. And those are fun. So yeah,
Now,
that's when they come in.
I'm gonna ask the group, because I've been thinking about this for a video topic, and I used to do a lot of bicycle tours, and I mean I've gone up and down the state. I mean, we could do a whole show just on that. But I'm thinking of bicycles as a bug out vehicle. Would you guys be interested in something like that? Because I have a few ideas in my head. I have trailers, I have panniers, I have more stuff than I could even imagine. And thinking about just doing a loadout and maybe doing, like, say you had to bug out on your bike. So if you happen to watch this live, or you watch this tonight or tomorrow or next week, leave it in the comments and I'll check in every once in a while, or shoot me a message direct. And I'll see if I can do some sort of bicycle video like that. I think that would be interesting. You know, you're trying to do something different than gear reviews all the time, because you get burned out. It's like eating, if you ate oatmeal every day for the rest of your life. So I want to shake it up a little bit, give you guys some variety. AZ Patriot said bicycles are excellent bug out vehicles. I think it would be. And the reason being, in SoCal, you only have 3 interstates to get out of here. You have the 8, you have the 15, and the 5. So if those 3 are clogged, and you know they're going to be, your only mode of transportation might be a bike to be able to get by all those people, if you can, if they don't go crazy on you.
As long as no one sticks a stick in your spokes, you're good to go.
That's right. That would not be fun. Let's see. AZ Patriot says, yeah, they're good. They're not dependent on fuel or electricity for forward motion. That's true, but food and water, that would be the only constraint out here. That would not be fun. Somebody asked a question about Saguaro Cactus. You guys have Saguaro Cactus out there?
Probably. I am not huge on knowing all the plants and stuff like that. I only know the ones that are crucial for survival. But we have a lot of cactus. We have some that are indigenous to this area. And so we have to be very careful for poachers, because there's a lot of people that steal those things, and they're like $1,000 a piece.
Oh, I can imagine.
Yeah, on the black market. So we try and, stop those guys. Hardcore.
Christopher Spencer is asking, how much can I pack on a bicycle? Well, if you're talking about panniers, and I also have a bob trailer, you could pack so much that it would impede forward progress, for sure. I think the loadout capacity on the trailer is like 70 pounds. loaded out. And then in the panniers, you could probably put 15 pounds each on that. And I have a rack both on the front and back end of the bike. So I'd be more worried about blowing out a tire because of the weight. But when I do the video, I'll show you, like, I've upgraded my rims. I think I went with a 36 or a 38 spoke rim. I went really tight weave on the spokes just for that, for the extra weight. Because my thinking was I didn't want to be on a bicycle tour, hit a pothole, and taco the tire or do something crazy like that. So, you know, you see that a lot, especially when you're on the road, that the craziest stuff happens all the time. And it takes people out of the game. They're breaking spokes, they're folding a rim, they're getting multiple pinch flats. That would be probably a pretty cool series to do. I'm going to write that down.
Yeah, I'll hop on with you with that one. I think it'd be cool to have like an electric version too, you know, for shorter distances, like from base camp, would be sweet.
If I could maybe charge it solar charged, maybe had an inverter on it, and that way you could be totally off the grid, that would be something to think about.
Yeah. Right now I'm doing a review on a little solar panel that's not going to charge a bike, but I mean, it charges a phone really quick. This one is pretty good.
Ooh. Ooh.
Yeah, this little thing puts out 18 watts. I can charge an iPad in one day.
Really?
Or I can charge a cell phone in an hour. It's freaking crazy.
Can you say how many watts it's putting out?
It puts out 18.
Wow.
Yeah, and this one also has a 12-volt plug for it, so you can plug in auto accessories into it and power those.
That's pretty good, because I think the Goal Zero that I have is only putting out 12. And
yeah, and
they may have increased it because mine's like maybe 4 years old. So now the new solar cells might be new and improved to get the wattage, but you know, I'd be interested in watching that. That would be interesting. I love that. I'm a nerd when it comes to that stuff. The reason I like them too is you're out in the bush. Say you got the GoPros, you can recharge the GoPros on the fly. You can take that battery backup, plug it into your GoPro. Now you can do those very long time-lapse videos. So it just, to me, it keeps me out in the woods longer, where I don't have to come into a base camp or something, especially if I'm backpacking. If I'm doing a week, say, in the Sierras, and I'm away from any sort of technology or community, you know, you set that up, man, you keep your cell phone charged, you're good to go.
Yeah, and for me, like, I typically don't take electronics into the wilderness. However, now that I'm like law enforcement, I need to keep certain communication things up. So if for some reason my battery goes low, because my batteries tend to suck because they're old, I can charge them back up. Or for my cell phone, I can keep it up and running for apps that I might need, which we won't.
Well, if you had, say, I'm digging into my thing, keep the batteries on your GPS charged, or if you had one of those spots and you're an old married guy like me, where your wife would like to get an update every once in a while to make sure that, you know, a bear didn't eat you or a cougar didn't kill you. And I'm not talking about the ladies at the VFW. It'd be nice to keep those charged up, especially I'm thinking about doing the John Muir Trail, and that's like 230, I think it's like 230 miles long. So we're thinking about going ultralight backpack, just hard and fast. We're going to try to do anywhere between 20 and 30 miles a day and try to knock it out. Because the traditional guys, I had a friend, I think, do it in like 22 days. But there's no way I can get that much time off. So it'd just be high speed, low drag.
Were you going to invite me on this trip?
Why, yes, Mr. Tran.
Okay.
And then we'll top out at Whitney, bag Whitney, and then come down.
Let's freaking do it. Let's get some sponsors at SHOT.
I'd be down for that. Filming in 4K.
I could do that, especially with the solar panel things. I can keep the batteries up and running. We're good to go.
And one thing I'm going to give Chris Tanner a shout out because it got me thinking on that. Just going ultralight, like we did our little 5-pound survival pack kit. My goal for the John Muir would be like under 20-pound kit. And I'm talking, we're going to get gross here, but this is like when you're ultra backpacking, you're not bringing multi-days worth of clothes. You're wearing the same clothes probably for 4 or 5 days and just washing them at night and doing whatever. Maybe 2 pair of socks, a light jacket, and the things that are going to weigh on you is water and food. Everything else is going to be super ultralight. Maybe even sleeping under a tarp, just a quick tarp tent, you know. Or
when I did Outward Bound, I think 2005, we only had like a pair of pants that converted to shorts. I didn't wear any underwear, didn't have any toilet paper, didn't have a tent. All we carried was fuel, food, and iodine tablets. And that was it. And we rocked it. So you don't need that creature comfort stuff when you're going fast.
I think we could do that. We'd have somebody drop us off in Yosemite, and then we get picked up on the 395 at the base of Whitney. Somebody wants to know what's the longest trail that we've ever hiked.
My longest stint was about 160, 170 miles. And that was when I was like 14, 15 years old.
Mine was here in SoCal, the Pacific Crest Trail. And I started just a little bit north of Campo, where everybody starts at. And me and my relative Chris, we hit it and started heading up into the mountains. So I think we got like, I don't know, maybe 40 or 50 miles into it before we hit like freezing rain and we got all soaked, and it wasn't a fun time. But we wound up saving an illegal alien. We were hiking back out of the woods and we saw this dude near a tree in a t-shirt, and it's like 28 degrees out and he's freezing, hypothermic. And we tried to get him to come with us and he wouldn't come with us, you know, obvious reasons. So when we got to the fire station off Cameron Road, somewhere off near the 8, we told them about it. I had that GPS. I had it coordinated. They went out. They gave him a rescue, got him some hot food because he was in stage 2. He was just shaking uncontrollably, and he was in a bad state of affairs. But yeah, I'm looking forward to doing that. That would be fun. Me and the Tran out there, the JMT 2016. Let's do this.
Okay, let's do it. I've made that decision right now.
That'll work. Well, if you get the time, you might be working in summertime.
Could be working there. Who knows?
That's true. That is
But
true.
I want to work in Washington. I need to stay close to the family and the dogs. But it's pretty cool.
Christopher says he wants to work his way up and hike the Appalachian Trail. It's on his bucket list. The AT would be cool. The AT, from what I've heard, I've talked to a lot of people that have hiked both the PCT and the AT. They said the AT is a lot easier just because of bailout points, postal pickup areas, and a lot of the places are a lot closer to town as opposed to the Pacific Crest Trail, where you might have to hike 10, 12, 20 miles to get into a town, maybe hitchhike back. And your mail drop-off and pickup points are a lot more staggered out. But I like it out here on the West Coast. The views look pretty freaking cool. Andy can attest to from some of these mountaintops, especially Sierras up north where he lives. Oh, my God, breathtaking.
I miss trees and clear running water.
You don't have clear water down there on the Rio Grande?
You're funny.
Right now we don't have it here in SoCal. Every time it rains, we're getting just this murky dirt water right now.
Looks like chocolate milk. I mean, if you went and swam in it, you'd be wiping silt out of your ass for the next week.
Yes. Oh, kind of like doing the Tough Mudder last weekend.
Exactly like that.
Every time I'm cleaning my ears, I'm finding more crap in there. Like, oh my God, I got in there and cleaned them good. Now more junk. But it was fun. It was a good time with the family.
Yeah.
Let's see. Video, you guys hike and post it. Christopher, if we do the JMT and we get a sponsor, it's going to be a full-blown, like, freaking DVD quality video. I guarantee that.
Yeah, because if we were doing something like that, what we would need to do is coordinate with someone to help us get footage out and stuff like that, and make sure that we have backup cameras. Because cameras die when you take them out to the wilderness. Luckily, mine didn't die when I went and brought it through the Amazon, but that would suck if we were, 2/3 of the way through and the cameras cut out, and we couldn't finish the video series with that.
Well, if we get sponsors, right? Could be different.
Yeah.
We'll have camera batteries. We'll have a couple different GoPros. So there's always be a way to film something. So it'd be a nice little documentary. Let's see. Dale Irby asks if we ever use haversacks.
Not me. I only have a backpack. I'm not fancy like that.
I do. And this is one that Malcolm from the Hidden Woodsman made for me at a multicam. You can tell I'm a multicam fanboy. I do have a video on my channel of this and the contents that I put in this. I'm thinking about using this when I do my traditional archery hunting. Maybe to keep my optics in here, my laser rangefinder. That way it's just easy to grab. I don't like just junk hanging around my neck, especially when I'm trying to draw a bow. I find binoculars gets sometimes caught on the string, and then all of a sudden, you're snapping the back of your neck with the damn binocular strings from the bowstring. But maybe I'll do a video on that pretty soon on my loadout. But Malcolm the Hidden Woodsman, kick-ass gear, really good stuff. Well, we're coming up on about an hour and a half. You want to wind it down?
I think so. I'm going to open it up for last questions before we shut it down for the night. Anyone have any questions or requests for SHOT Show? Feel free to go ahead and post your thoughts in the comments. Love to hear them, because not only a SHOT Show for us, but it's also for all of our subscribers and followers.
Yep, rapid fire question round. If you guys got a question, statement, keep it friendly. I can handle if you guys say we suck, but remember, kids are watching the show, so we'll try to accommodate the best that we can. I'm really looking forward this year's SHOT, and I'm looking forward to hooking up with Andy again. Had a good time when we went to Washington State for his graduation. Had a hell of a good time. He rolled out the red carpet for the wife and I. And I can't wait to get over there to Vegas to see what sort of mischief we can get into.
Yeah.
Let's see. 5 must-have items for a IFAC. Actually, I have a video on mine on my channel if you want to check that out. And here's a quick sneak peek. I'm not supposed to disclose this, but this is a video I'll be doing soon on an item that I can't talk about. So check it out in about a week. That's all I can say about that. So I didn't have to sign a non-disclosure agreement, but I was told to keep my mouth shut. So look for a video on that. The item product release is supposed to release, I think, November 6th, I want to say. Something like that. So it's on that lines of the IFAC. Andy, do you carry a blowout kit with you in your truck on your person?
I do. I have one that's a big one for my EMT work, so it has like oxygen tanks and like, you know, king tubes and all that stuff in it. And I have a quick one that just has stethoscope and BP cuff, and then some stuff for trauma, so just to keep someone alive, like right then and there. So I have that as well. And then in my ballistic vest, I have an OSS first aid kit, which has a SWAT tourniquet, quick clot, things like that, just to keep you alive until your backup gets there. So that's what I got.
This is what I'm currently using, and this is a combination of a collaboration with Ken from Prepare One teaming up with VanQuest, and I was lucky enough to be able to be part of their test and review team on this. And this is like their IFAC on steroids, and I did a video on this as well. You can check out. I've also changed a little bit of the configuration of this pack. I've taken a few things out, put in a few things in, and that's one thing you got to realize, that things are going to evolve as your skill set gets better, as the seasons change, the environment that you're in. Things that Andy carries down in Texas are going to be a hell of a lot different than he carries up in Seattle. And it's kind of the same thing for me out here in SoCal, because I'm going from coastal to mountains to desert. I can be there like within an hour and a half. So I gotta kind of be cognizant of the fact, where am I going? What's the intended use of the items that I'm using? And kind of piece that in together, because I could easily find myself in a desert situation and now all of a sudden I don't have any water, or I don't have emergency blankets, or I don't have all the what if items that you would need for that quote environment. And I'm sure that Andy has probably had a learning curve on that as well, transitioning from Washington State down to Big Bend National Park.
Yeah, we're dealing with a lot of heat injuries, a lot of geriatric things like heart attacks and things like that. And then we're always worried and prepared for, heaven forbid, an officer-involved shooting where an officer gets injured and you need like life-saving trauma care right then and there. So, there's a wide variety of things. It could be someone with a sprained ankle to someone that's, you know, hypothermic to someone who has a gunshot. It's all bad. Not fun, but we're prepared for it, mostly.
Yeah, you got to be prepared, because the times that you least expect it are the times that it's going to happen.
Yeah.
That someone's going to get hurt, someone's going to have that heart attack, someone's partying too hard and inhaled while they were eating and now they're choking. It's just, and that's why I'm a big advocate of people getting CPR treatment, certified, being just for your family, because if something's going to happen, it's going to happen to mom and dad, the mother and father-in-law, the aunt and uncle, the little kid at the dinner table, especially around Thanksgiving. There's more calls around Thanksgiving, people getting choked from inhaling food or laughing, having a good time, and all of a sudden grandma is turning blue. So it's just good to acquire those skills and to have those, because you never know when the time's going to arise. You never know when bad weather is going to come and a flash flood's going to happen on Interstate 5 and bury mud up to the car windows and people are trapped. I mean, that's, people laugh at me all the time. Oh, you got this backpack in the back of your car. It's got first aid equipment, got all this stuff, and they laugh till they need it. And it's like, yeah, you can laugh all day long, but I'll be laughing when all you guys need stuff and I have it.
Yeah, and in that case, the cost for the supplies goes up tenfold.
Yeah, I'm the type of person, I'll give you the shirt off my back, but if you had a chance to prepare and you chose to go buy Xbox games, or you chose to go, you know, do other things rather than do things that would help maybe the health, safety, and well-being of your family. I'm just old school. I figure if I'm the man of the house, it's my responsibility to take care of the people in the house. So I make sure that I have first aid kits are up to date. I have supplies readily available. I have all that stuff for everybody outfitted in the family. But maybe I'm just old school. I don't know.
Old school's good. It
Old
works.
school still rules, man.
Oh, yeah.
Mike Fuller says, you guys have two of my favorite channels. Mike Fuller, I thank you very much for the channels.
Yeah, he's been watching our channels for a long time. I appreciate it.
From the bottom of my heart, man, I really do appreciate it. I really do. Born and raised in the mountains says it's the second live show. Nice meeting you in SoCal. Thanks for the show. Hey, no problem. With that, I don't see any more questions popping up.
Yeah, I think it's time to wind down.
Yeah.
I'd like to thank everyone for coming and asking questions and being part of the show. I'd like to thank Wingman as well for taking time out of his busy vacation to chill out with me and everyone else.
Hey, thank Andy for having me on his channel. It's always fun to do these live shows. We have a blast. You know, we do a lot of stuff where we Skype call each other all the time. And we're like, dude, if we're going to do that, we might as well do a live show. So it's like, I'm glad we were able to get together. Both our schedules jived where we were able to do something. I'm hoping that we're going to be able to do something before Christmas, before SHOT Show, and maybe try to give you guys some ideas on those hard-to-find gifts for that special someone. So look forward to something like that. And as always, I thank you for your channel support. You guys and gals are the reason why I do this and why it's so fun. And I thank you so much. And with that, I hope you guys have a great night.
Take care. Stay safe out there.
Bye.